Hello. Hello, guys. I'm so pleased to see you here. Today we're streaming from the void, since clearly there is nothing on the screen as intended. But hi, guys. No, as for submissions, yeah, I'm gonna just do the ones that were already there. I will make it clearer. How we feeling? Plenty of thief. Real ones only. I see the faces I want to see. I see no enemies here. I can't imagine somebody joining here that I'm like, this is my op. Never mind themes here. Okay, my op has arrived. I'm kidding. I'm chilling. Where? Okay, here it is. Shout out the multiple desktop feature on Windows computers. No, I just learned about it. And it's really useful for when I'm like, shit, I have so much shit open, but it would be nice to do the stream. So pro tip, do that. Doink partail. We are doing feedback. Submitted yesterday. The new standard is submissions are accepted beforehand. Okay, this already sounds good as fuck. Let me make sure you can hear it though. Should be able to hear it. Alright. Good as fuck. Good as fuck, to be honest with you. Now, literally from the first hit, I'm like, it's good. You hit that funky chord, and you hit it right with the riff, like you're giving them the groove right away. Fun little effects, just right to the business, kind of riffy build. Nicely done. and just good ass like call sound that boom just ties the beat together. Like the call and the downbeat, it never fucking fails. It doesn't ever. Kind of some like push and pull, some variation with the kind of. I mean, although I like the kind of init patch for the main riff. I feel like we can do something with it. You know, there's a character to be had with just the kind of saw square wavy whatever guy. But I don't know, plucks like some type of texture on it, like some type of harmonic fuckery, like, you know. I feel like that could only make it more interesting. Especially when I hear like some of these call hits, like they're just so fucking high fidelity. Like even just like a bit of like movement, you know, you have the sustain, then you can have it, the saw be kind of plucky in a place, you know, or like wubby or. Like I fuck with the more like init type sound, but I can imagine most people would be more tickled by whatever the fuck weird texture bit you can put out of it. And it doesn't have to throw away the simplicity either, you know? Just mess with that. No, but like I would extend it, you know. I don't know, you can kind of run it shorter if you want. But I want to see like some more depth kind of come out of this and it become like a kind of breakdown, bridge, mix out before it has like a kind of crazy ass switch up. I don't know, McMahon type. Because I feel like that's the type of moment you can like create a kind of unexpected, like almost emotional contrast for the whole John.
It has the largest teeth for its size of any fish. There are pressure sensors all over its head and body, which can detect anything moving in the surrounding water. It is an ambush predator with an enormous mouth and infinite patience.
Happy birthday, Bunting. My B-Day is also the 3rd. Aquarius game.
Creative thing to put in there. I appreciate it. I like the tune. I just realized this is like, oh, it's like blood in the water type image. Aquarius Gang. So my thing with this track, I gotta be nice about it now since he wished me happy birthday. That's my problem. No, the thing with this track, it just feels a little messy. It feels a little like disheveled, and I think it comes from too many layers, not a clear kind of center point. You know, like beat and sub up front, kind of main idea pushed ahead of everything else. You know, there's like 3 different kind of sound design layers fighting for my attention. Pretty much at all points. Yeah, let things stop for others to start. You can mess with a bit of layering, right? I don't want to completely put you in like the call and response one at a time box, even though that's always super effective. But I would think in terms, put yourself in the shoes of like your listener, you know? I find you can get too much in like the producer mindset and be like, oh, I need more things here. You know, like, oh, like I gotta make it this much cooler versus, you know, the listener just wants to be communicated to or just have a clear thing, you know? I mean, it's like you're looking at an image. It's like, have you ever seen the image? It's like I Spy or whatever, okay? And it's like there's so much shit scattered throughout the image, but it's like, okay, you already know where the little blue cat is. You can see the little blue cat in the I Spy image because that's what you're looking for. But if you show someone the I Spy image, they're not gonna see the blue cat. They're not gonna see it. You know, they're not gonna see it. They're gonna look around. Maybe they'll see it eventually, right? The thing is, even if they do see it, if you told them, look for the blue cat, they're gonna look for it, right? Or even better, if you took away a lot of the background and made the blue cat the center point, then they're gonna see it, you know? You understand what I mean? It's because, like, as a producer, you know what you're looking for, you know? But the listener, they see everything in this image. So that's why you have to frame it so the blue cat is front and center. You know, and if you don't have a blue cat, then I don't know. You know, there's definitely an abstract angle to take on it, but I feel like most work benefits from a focal point. So pick your focal point. Think in terms of crowdedness. You know, like you want this clear, you want it in focus, you don't want things obscuring it. You can have kind of details, a bit of atmosphere, a bit of setting, you know, a bit of fog in front of the blue cat for the vibes, but you don't want like squiggles all over it. Okay, I'm done with the metaphor, but you see where it's going. I would listen in terms of that, in terms of focus, and you don't have to completely throw away the kind of layers, but I would think, you know, we have the high end, the kind of mid-range, the low end, you know? Think how you can seat things among those parts, see how you can push something further ahead in the mix volume-wise, see how you can maybe simplify, not have everything be doing such complex sound design movements, have one thing doing the crazy thing and the rest being still. Yeah. I like that metaphor. Yeah, so layers, phrasing, simplify. Yeah. Like the production is clean elsewhere. It's just when we're so producers, it might take more conscious effort to musicalify it in a sense. Thank you. Thank you for the happy girth day. I like this. I feel like it definitely has that kind of like live sound, that live appeal. Really playing off that tension and release and just that classic effective EDM type way. I feel like a little too, it's like, all right, like get the build on with I mean, it is a long build. It's like over a minute. Like I could have watched like, I don't know, like 20 TikToks in that time and I've been less fulfilled but more entertained. Okay, you got to think about this marketing to this generation. No, but what I would actually do, maybe don't quite get into the build up so early. Like you can start with kind of intro feel and then a bit build up. And that on its own, not necessarily like adding more or like, you know, that type of thing. Will make the build up feel not as drawn out. So when you're doing this thing with the chord, it's do do do, pretty much that repeating with little variation. I think maybe a more interesting variation would be like boo doo doo boo boo. Okay, let's go an octave. Do 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 do. You know, kind of thinking like that, because it just goes boo doo 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 doo. Which is cool, and I hear the bits of variation on the latter half of like that kind of progression, but like on the front half, that's where some salsa come out, I think. Will this work? Oh shit, wait, how does this even work? What did you see there? acoustic piano. So it goes. You know, there's all type of variations you could do. And then you could. Now let me hear the actual thing to give you something. So yeah, you're just going to. You see, it's just kind of that versus you do something like. Yeah, because it's kind of it's the thing I say sometimes. Like people, you write like a kind of a one-part phrase that's just repeating versus. What that is, you're kind of going G minor. I mean, I guess like G minor or just like G, A, B flat, right? But go G, A, B flat, E flat, D, but major. And yeah, I was just listening to the harmony on that. Just try to like go for this like I guess 2-part phrase. I hope that somewhat clear. And I'm talking about just building chords off the notes I mentioned. And yeah, like even more build-up-y, like filter things, pitch things up, like these claps. Maybe have like a synth riser or like a kind of like ARP riser, just like one more kind of element spicy in there and play with the effects. You know, like kind of like high passing type stuff, and yeah, build up. And the thing in this drop, it's kind the note hit's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's not really paying mind to the key we're in. So it goes boo doo doo, boo boo. So if you wanted to kind of drop it, it'll be doo doo doo. Yeah, it'll just be doo doo doo. You'd just be landing on the G, because that's the kind of minor root. I feel like that's kind of where all this build wants to resolve to. Okay, it's like clipping a bit, but don't mind that. Yeah. Because what you're doing, and it wants to go. So try that. Try that. That's it. Put a little harmonic on this bass too. Even if it does pitch, it's not gravitating towards the root. Which has been proven scientifically. That's the problem. Wait, where's the music science? I'm tired of this music theory. I need music facts. Am I right, gamers? But theory agrees. The root does release the tension. I mean, I would recommend everyone learn music theory. I'm tired of pretending like, oh, like if you're not a theory guy, then don't learn it. I think can only help you. Can only help you. But even if you mess with it, I feel like if you stumble across that note, you might think it sounds better. I mean, I feel like that's essentially what music theory is. It's like, I'm just gonna talk a minute about it. But we don't necessarily have music facts, you know? But theory at least tells us what works, you know? And it can lead you to the choice that's 9 times out of 10 is gonna work the best, you know, when like your creativity fails you. Because it's really good to be inspired and to hear exactly what you want and to know exactly that and for it to slap, right? But what if you want it better? You know, you can't necessarily build a vision on top of that all the time. And sometimes you're just completely uninspired. And having the kind of logical framework just can only help you, can only have more to build off of and can answer questions, you know? Yeah, most people don't like reading music and think they're the same. No, I think reading music, you know, I'm very familiar with reading music because I did it for so long in the past, but I really don't think it's very useful. I mean, at least for where I am, because I don't read much music. I think if I want to play music, I'd honestly rather do it by ear or from like a lead sheet. And I think that takes less formal education or whatever. All right, it's actually Monday. Let me change the title. But yeah, I don't know. It's also nice to read music because if you're trying to create a visual guide for theory, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Because on the piano, if I'm like, okay, you can think about chords like this on the piano. You can't think about chords like that on the guitar, right? And sheet music is the visual that unites all of them. So I think it is necessary. I don't know, learn everything. Learn what interests you first, though, please. Also, like, why does music notation kind of suck? I feel like music notation should essentially work exactly like Ableton. Like, you could just write in MIDI and like the rest are rest. And that's so intuitive. And like, I feel like even in Ableton on a MIDI selector, you could easily like overlay a kind of like notation visual. Like, I feel like there's like a direct parallel. It's just looks a little different. Why don't we make them look the same even then? You know what I mean? Because really, like, the DAW is just like sheet music simplified in a way. You know, not quite as much information, but it tells you what you need. I'm a hater, but I'm honest. This track has like a nauseating effect. No, but like you can kind of hear it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just like it's like blah, blah. No. What I really want, it's like it's like muddy, like not necessarily like. I mean, yeah, in the mix, it both in the mix and the arrangement. Cause like I think there's weird stuff with the width, like with the mix. Like I feel like the bass, sub, and mid just like takes up everything. Mono, stereo, mid high is just super loud. And I don't necessarily love it. Cause like there's a bit of movement going on, but I feel like it's not paying mind to a very particular flow. Its sound design is just kind of like just pretty standard like texture. You know, it's not modulating a ton. But I wouldn't say there's interest coming from that. You know, the flow is kind of there. I wish maybe the sub followed more with it and it was more conscious. It just you know, I feel like it's not like locked in to something. And it's just rather sustainy, you know, the kind of rhythms, ties rhythm, the flow, and the kind of like notes. It's not necessarily like riffing, you know, and the pauses in the rhythm can play a lot with like how you might create a riff. But this is very hater of me. It does create this atmosphere, it does create this feel, but you're just pushing the bass up so much with, I feel, not using it as like an instrument. No, I mean, I'm hearing more of it. I'm hearing it and it's growing on me. But I think that shows like, I hear the notes now and I hear the kind of riff now. But it shows that like, it still needs like clear like articulation, you know, like kind of layers cleaned up, kind of that emphasized. I feel like just like, the flow on it makes it a little less clear versus like if it was a stain and I was going bo 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 bo, you know, with kind of straight notes, it'd be clearer. Yeah, just too much on the layers. And it's kind of like the complexity thing, like the top layer. Like everything wants to be like complex. Nothing wants to tell it to you straight. Like percussion is like kind of like a bit of that. That's not quite accurate. I don't know. So I would say clean up the mix, clean up some of the arrangement layers, you know, make things work together, make things phrase together. Something I've been thinking about when I'm arranging, especially with layers, is even though it's with layers, I still think almost like the really just classic like dubstep call and response kind of phrasing works. You know, if things are layered, it's still nice to go, you know? Kind of give them their own space and time, you know, have everything play off each other rhythmically, even if it's kind of atmospheric sounding. So think about that in the arrangement. I would kind of like articulate the bass more, like the sound design, the kind of riffs, their rhythmicness, how it kind of sits in the mix, making that clear. And yeah, I would say like a bit more contrast, like a bit more to discern between these. And sometimes it doesn't mean like, oh, we need a completely new thing. It just means like a different thing. And sometimes a different thing is just taking things out. You know, like an empty room versus a full room feels different. Versus if you have 2 rooms with piles all over the ground. Yes, there's different things in all those piles, yet you walk in and think this is a messy room. Yes, absolutely. What Chris Digby said. Dynamic attack sustain in the individual voices, yes. That is everything. That last part. That fucking last part. Psych warding. I had something else to say. Okay. So like a note on like the rhythm feel and the rhythm sound design. I've been thinking about it. Like I've been enjoying listening to it a little too much lately. Like as a treat. Like I'm just clicking through SoundCloud and like, this song is very loud. Nice. Will I make it? Maybe I should. But my pride stops me. No, that shit slaps and it's big right now. So no, but I realized like some of the stuff I've been liking about it. Like one thing, I really like the effect they do, where it's like the basses are almost like transient at times. And what you hear is like they have the sub pulsing with the bass, like a bend. You know, like if it's a sustained bass, it would be like with every mid bass hit, and it just makes it hit so fucking hard. Crazy hard. Another thing you hear in a lot of rhythm, it's like a comb filter type effect, you know, or like so something like that. But more so like what I want to hear from the sound design, it's very experimental and it's timbre. But I think like a lot of like the beauty in a sound, or I mean like beauty, whatever, but like the heaviness, whatever you want to call it, is like how the harmonics relate to each other, you know? But like at some point it becomes like too noise that there's no kind of like fundamental you can hear the harmonic playing off of, if you understand what I mean. But what happens is if you add a comb filter on top of that, then all of a sudden any kind of like sound you have is given this like harmonic context, like it's resonating through, you can hear it originating from this root. The thing is it's not conscious. It's not really conscious. I mean, like, I think all of music experience isn't conscious until you try to think about it, but it sounds good. If you want to make it sound gooder, I'll like play with like a comb filter type thing, or like, I don't know, like convolve or like something to like, even like a slight reverb, like take the kind of screaks and like give them this kind of slight tonal character. That makes sense. Comb filter does that, but I don't want to say comb filter because then it might just sound like comb filter rhythm. But I don't think it would. Either way. Does that make sense? I mean, it's essentially like the same reason if I have a snare and it's just a burst of noise versus like I put a bandpass on it, then it's like a clap, right? Or if I put a sine wave on it, then it's like an actual snare. It's not just white noise, you know. I just have a burst of white noise. You put a little resonant peak, clap, put a little sine wave lower on it, snare, you know. And I think people are more likely to use that as a percussion, you know, because it's given this relative. It's almost like harmony in a bass. I don't know. It's a hard idea to communicate because there's no theory on it. So maybe I should do that. Like I said, I would. Didn't say I would, but I want to. Does that make any sense? Any fucking sense at all? Even meaner. I feel like the drums are kind of chill for the vibe the basses are giving off. There is a theory on that. Alright, what's the theory?
I think that was a part of the process. There's been several other awakenings and yet still I have a lot of egoic attachments that pull my attention. But I think, you know, the right marriage, the right character, and the right guy is going to do something. It's essential. Now I feel like I'm playing a character. Yes, the ASMR at the end. It's good though. It's like chewing too. These like keys, like what am I hearing?
This is cool. I wish this melody was a little more like outlining these kind of chords. Boom, 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 boom. Tossing coins, you're probably right. Feel like structure is a little too scattered. I'm kind of wanting like a kind of like chording layer. You feel me? Like there was definitely more kind of phrasing going on here, but then it varied a little early, and I just wasn't really as locked into this. I felt like this also varied a bit much. And TBH, like, I feel like we can mess with more kind of phrasing, you know, you know, kind of like classic call and response, like big downbeat thing on the fill. I feel like I like a slight bit more like kind of atmospheric layers. It just feels little like in a vacuum. Sub on the loud side. Groove it, arrange it. Slight bit of layer, slight bit of like contrast in the kind of phrase. Alright, then turn around and clap your hands 3 times. Cool pick. Thanks for the birthday whip. Web. Nice track. I like it. It's just vibes. It's just vibes. You can sink into it. Also, this picture is cool. Like, it reminds me of like looking out like the plane at night, but like it's not, and I don't really know what it is, but it looks good. Like, it reminds me, like, just because I was listening, like, Cursa earlier, it's like, he has, like, desert salt or whatever. Kind of that, and it's, like, minimal and just, like, sub-beat. And it really hits in that aspect, does a really good job. And it like, has these phrases, but it still, like, just has beats and sub at the root. I feel like push the sub even harder, harmonic it, like get it as big as fucking possible. CRT from Circuit Bent Video Enhancer. Yeah, that's cool. That's been something I've been interested in. Like the kind of analog visuals. It's interesting that it gives me that, like, reminds me of, like, I don't know, almost like I imagine like a kind of like casino, like a visual slot machine. Just really good. Like the phrase is like rolling. And it's entrancing and like rolling in the sense, like I think the phrase, it like goes over the one. It's like it kind of has this like big hit on the 4 instead of like the 1, but it like gives it gravity in a place you don't expect, so it just kind of like tumbles, you know. It's like you have the weight of the downbeat, but then you have the weight of this hit on the other end. If you put a weight on both ends, then it's like gonna start rolling, like. It's just a nice kick, man. I like those kind of patterns. It still like brings focus to like the 1, like I mean the downbeat. That's all I want to talk about apparently, but it kind of a little saucier with it. Yeah, just interesting synthy layers kind of playing this rhythmic roll. Little boom, boom, boom. I don't know, reminds me of like a thing. I feel like, just like generally, like on Dubstep's work, I would say like push for not necessarily variation, but to avoid accusations of repetition, you know? To kind of give it some push and pull, more of a journey in some places. And also like in terms of like the world building, I don't know why I say this now, but like I feel like a really interesting part of a track is like when there's a clear kind of atmosphere drawn, and like the title might enhance that, you know, it'd be like space vibe or whatever, or like, you know, and like how all the sounds can contribute to this specific feeling, you know. I feel like that's something that isn't always present in just like a dubstep in general, you know. But it's like, if I'm imagining this as a space, how would that space sound like? You know, and I feel like the answer on most of them, it's just like abstraction. Just kind of an answer, but doesn't necessarily draw upon. So I don't know. This isn't dev step specific, but you know, or like Space Lace's like phone tap. You like have the like I'm trying to use the phone vocal, and it's like the bass is very like telephony. You know, even that, and the kind of visual, it's like, oh no, the phone's taken over. Like, certainly some unique sauce on that. I really like that.
No one had to see it. Noise flies high. No one had to see it. Noise flies high. No one had to see it. Noise flies high. No one had to see it.
This is cool. Mix super clean. Like all the sound design, it's just clean and it's different and it's saucy and it's good.
No one had to see it.
I want less sustained bait. About like the root, talking about the root sub. You know, even just slight glides. I mean, this is the kind of root hit is essential, but at the same time, you know, boo, 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 boo. And I just feel like slight bends in that phrase would be nice. It's definitely a type of thing like that wouldn't lend itself to like a whole riff, you know, but the you know, almost like slightly trappy.
Noise flies high.
I think like something to create that dynamic, you know, like that dimension. We have the kind of thing, but you want it more detailed. You want more contrast. You know, you want shading. You want depth. No, but like kind of pitch bend can do that. Like it's come close to you, you know. And I'm also thinking like on these kind of leads, the droney nature of them, like it really wants like kind of you know, like and like filtering open, like flanger rising, like something kind of morphing that character. Yeah, like especially the type of sound, you know, filtering fucking. A little call. You know, like little call. Bass is kind of like opening up further. Like some type of contrasting bass, some type of movement on this main phrase, pitch or harmonic or sound design kind of more. What makes it iconic?
Pull 'em limb from limb. A noble sacrifice. Time for the big boom. A noble sacrifice. How bold of you!
That one hard.
You got any shiny things to sell?
A noble.
So I like this. Like the like kind of mess with the tuning. Like it's not quite like atonal or whatever, but it's like right in between. Like it's like kind of hitting the melody. You know, you see how like I think you could either tune the top one down or tune the bottom one up. Now, right now, you're kind of or whatever, you know.
Sacrifice.
And I feel like you can like go a little more aggressive, like on the processing, like on the mix down master. And I would say like stick to one kind of phrase a little longer. You know, just because I mean, I thought it flowed well. I wasn't really lost or like, oh, you're doing too much. But you definitely go through things a little quickly, and in the end, it's only minute 39. You know, you can have instrumental intro, build up, drop, break, second drop, outro. I've said that many times.
Nope.
And I would say like just be careful with the vocal samples because it's like easy to just like sound amateur or whatever, you know? If you just use too many and too dry or like not processed. You be stroking.
When I start making love, I don't just make love. I be smoking. Ooh, shit. I be smoking. What time of the day do you like to make love? Let me ask you something. Have you ever made love just before breakfast? I'm smoking. One time I made love on the backseat of a car, and the police came and shined his light on me, and I said, I'm struggling. I be smoking. That's what I be doing. Just remember. I'm strong.
Hard as fuck, honestly. Like shameless trap vibes, but it fucking goes crazy. Like literally, like just the beat on its own, like you're set. You're fucking set.
When I start making
Bow, 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 bow.
ooh, shit.
Just solid, rhythmic, super solid riff. It's fire. It's fucking fire. No, it just it amazes me. Amazes me how good it is. No, it's very good. But it's like synths has been around how long, right? And it's like it's a saw wave. But like there's still so many ways to use it. Like you start like riffing it rhythmic like this and bending it like, ooh, that's trap shit. Like you like, ooh, you busting into it. But then like you put big chords on that, like, oh, you and your feelings, you know? Like it's just almost subtle musical differences that changes the whole vibe, the whole sauce of the sound, and what determines styles, you know? And it's like the fact that like somebody had to decide to like make a crazy bendy and like rhythmic kind of saw wave with over 808s, you know? Like someone had to be like the first, I guess. And that just spawned a whole thing. That's such like a powerful musical idea that it can spawn so much around it, you know? I don't know. I'm just thinking about that. I was just like, cause like who invented trap, right? Because like so many people have been using like the same synth sounds, but it's just the one guy that's like, oh, let me kind of like funk it with the pitch bend and the rhythm like this. And, you know, just the power of that idea. But that's just me talking about whatever the fuck. As for this actual track, watch the kind of like compression, like clap a bit up. Feel like little like offbeat percussion. And I feel like you're kind of like leaning into some of the breaks a little much, like just kind of lay it down. Little fills could be fun. Yeah, percussion. Goes fucking hard. I would say like you can have a bit more intro build for the hype, you know, get the people going fucking crazy on the build up. And it's riffing, but maybe a little too much stroking. Fuck is it? Real trap shit. Percussion, structure, build, bit more riff, structured variation, structured around that. No, you can't ask for much more. Maybe like kind of like fill contrasting sound, or like something to give some parts a bit more character than just the main kind of lead 808 thing going on. That immediately hit me with like dun 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 dun, like all around me are. Fire as fuck. Per usual. It's wonderful. That's money right there. He sounds professional with it. He does. So, but like something about the basses hitting. I feel like these are the basses that have the potential to like fucking like stop the whole goddamn room. Whatever that means. Go stand still. But like the good kind of standstill, or like the standstill, like ass still shaking though, or whatever. But it's like almost like the kick pattern. As much as I love them, maybe it's the side chain, like someone said. Much as I love them, it's like cutting into like some of the impact of the basses. Like sometimes I just wish like the kick would kind of like back off and like kind of layers almost and just be like wow wow. I mean, even like a kind of like fake out effect in a place could be cool or something like that. And I'll almost like push the basses louder. I feel like the kick is just so loud. I don't necessarily feel like it's like missing. I think about it more in terms of the arrangement. I'm not like hearing like the mix like this. It's wrong. And like a thing in terms of like impact as well, like you have the subby intro and then it goes right into the subby drop. I feel like a longer break there, or like almost a less subby intro in a way, or like maybe like an 808 subby versus sustained subby, you know? Like it's just kind of missing some kind of contrast on that part. It's like heavy, but like it's like floating. It's like effortless. Mean. I feel like I want these wobs like to feel like even more like fucking like thrown at you, like just fucking swinging at you. Like in terms of like the envelope, like vo 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 vo. And add vibrato to that bass in particular. Well, hope you like Feedback Sunday. Seedback. Hashtag Seedback. It's the worst of all time. I like that. Bro loves tuning those harmonics. I don't blame him. I'm on the same wave. Like, a thing I noticed over the whole thing, it's just like this kind of like muddy mixiness, like mid-range, low end, taming. And it's like very sustainy, very non-stop. Just like a bit of articulation could make it groove, make it bounce a little more. I would think it is fair to assume. I mean, there is a 808-ness to it earlier. But even then, like, a bit of pauses in it can be really nice. Like, that's something I realized, like, especially, like, when you're writing kind of, like, beats, like, 808 grooves. Like, an 808 with a short tail usually, like, lends to a lot, like, groove, a lot more, like, groove, like, a lot more, quote-unquote, like, bounce than otherwise. And I think that just applies generally rhythmically. And even though it is 808, it's still pretty sustainy, is what I'm saying. Something to break that up. Break up the wall of sound, you know, like, get it phrased, get it contrasted, you know? And it doesn't need to be, like, classic dubstep, like, call and response, one thing at a time. But it doesn't hurt to think in that way, maybe with a few more layers going on, you know? Each thing has its own time. Boom, boom, down, 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 boom, down, you know, or like boom, 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 you know, like the kind of like chords hitting. That's really a thing that I felt really has enhanced my arrangements. Is like it's not making everything hit on the downbeat, really. You know, for example, like you're hitting, you know, you know. It ends up kind of coming around to one because that's how I think a lot of the time, but that's what works a lot of the time. But thinking like that, getting it off the sub for the kind of like wall of sound itself and to kind of like just give sections different contrast. It's 2 minutes, but I want it to feel more like a journey, you know, like take us to different sonic spaces. Unquestionably.
Well, you know, I stick the roots and culture vibes that tell you in a different style and different pattern. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom,
Nice. Thank you. Appreciate it. I like this. Wubby. Just a good flow, good sound on it. More sub. Maybe notes a little low. Harmonics no sub never hurt. Add little fills always as a treat. Wow. You know, like that type of moment, it's like, well, that's where you want to switch. It's almost like maybe it's kind of like doing like the 3 like 8-bar thing versus like the 4. And this kind of sound, it's cool. It has a different texture. It's varied, but it's not quite hitting as hard. Like I think the mid range is like what kind of gives that some of that beef. But this, it doesn't have like the strong mid range, but its high end is also kind of suppressed, you know. Kick feels a little loose, little loud compared to the sub again. Little saucy, a little juicier on the percussion. Yeah, riff gets a little rambly. It kind of continues to vary. And it's what can this track offer that no other track can? I like it right from the intro. It has this kind of like glitchy, like sample kind of like atmosphere created through these sounds. Sets it real clear. Sub needs to be cleaned up. Some of these fills are really crazy, but some of them are kind of like mid-ish, and I feel like you don't need to switch them up every hit as you do. At least like you can kind of keep like the rhythm they're serving the same, or the kind of like phrase, even if they are a little different sounding. Feels as transient, like kind of frequencies, whatever, maybe a little harsh. And it's solo. And I don't know, I want something fresh here. I don't want this look. I think the flow could be like a little more concise, a little more catchy, a little more riffy, you know? It just doesn't, like, it's flowing, but it's not like making me move, or it's not moving me, or it's not sticking with me. It's not bad, but it can go in and find that flow. I was more fan like with these kind of fills, like how they affected the kind of bass. As reference, what? Damn. Hello. So fucking hard. No, like, that's a crazy idea. Because like that melody, it does fit with the kind of rhythm thing. It's kind of like, what's that one fucking rhythm song that got overplayed to fuck? Or not? It's not even rhythm. It's something. It's like it kind of has that kind of like cadence going on to it, so it really fits with that. Who would have thought? The pop culture influence in that, like that has marketing potential, to say the least. Sub crisp, a little too like clippy on like some of the basses, more OTT, less I didn't mean. Nah, just get them like crisp and get that sub. Boo. Like for this idea alone, it deserves like the fattest fuck mix down. Drums kind of loud in proportion. And I don't know. You could do something with the impact that doesn't sound so sample packy, but that's nitpicky of me. Alright. Vibes. Bass Hunter. I like that. I was picking up on like the progression. I think definitely from that, but it's a good ass progression, and it hits me with the science fiction ethereal vibrations right from the start. So it's excellent. And it's a little dirty, a little rough around the edges, but like that's texture. I want like a little more like brightness and like darkness and like contrast, kind of like creeping out of like how you play with the mix and like play with these layers as it evolves. You know, make it sound like it kind of brightens up, dims down, you know. A little more, because like Reese, saw it. Play with some chords. You won't regret it. Sus chord. Yeah, Reese, mid-range bass, probably a little too loud. And I don't know, just something to kind of like break up the Reesiness a bit, you know. I don't know. I'm just kind of hitting at like some type of variation in the texture and the feel, you know, in the loop, or like, I don't know. I kind of like the loop better. Clap isn't my favorite. It's a little dry for the wetness of this vibration. But that's as far as my good feedback goes. I'm talking about like last track. That's where the good feedback ended. Though it's a vibe though, and TBH, like, I call for variation, but like if like the ambient angle is a thing, then sometimes you don't even want that. But I would always recommend trying it. See what kind of alternate textures you can do. See how you can bring some clarity. See what kind of sounds you can add to enhance this character even more. And, you know, how you can add some like red to this blue or whatever. The fuck? Wow. I like that. Like my thing is like there were some moments where the sound design and just like the phrase or whatever the fuck it was going really crazy, but then other moments where it wasn't going crazy. So just like go crazy on the crazy parts and like go crazy on them for longer. And then like this is the essence of music. I don't need to say anything more. No, but because there was a surplus of variation, you know? So when that's the case, that's an easy solution. Sub clean. Louder. And like structure wise, it's like this is kind of like the break, but like these sounds were going fucking foolish as frick. So keep that in mind. And I feel like there's this thing like bass producers do, myself included, that I'm trying to improve on, is like we like phrase too hard at some points, or it's like it's so like call and response that like there's no points that like people can like get moving into it because it keeps like saying wait. You feel me? It's like if you're gonna do that, you better make like the call have like the craziest fucking tension known to man, and the response be like fucking world life changing. You know, like I think of like Chi Vultures. Like he really plays off. You know, like that's peak. You know, or like the that one Peekaboo G-Rex song that I wouldn't possibly know the name of. You feel what I mean? But even then, it's like it's risky. Yeah, and like in terms of the break, I'm not really sure like what the atmosphere, like what kind of musical idea, like what kind of texture is coming across. There's like a bunch of stuff thrown at me and it's just unable to discern any of it. It's like if you like tossed like this is just like rehashing like a thing I said earlier, like if you throw like a gnome statue at me, I'm like, oh my god. This guy threw a gnome statue at me. I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life. Okay? But if you just throw like a ton of shit at me, I'm gonna remember you as the guy who threw a ton of shit at me. Okay? And any other guy who threw a ton of shit at me, you're all the same to me. You're all the... That's fucking awful. That's fucking atrocious. So throw that gnome at me.
What in the world? No, I went under the awning. It's still raining. Why is it still raining? I did what I was supposed to. That's not fair. Why is it still raining? What in the world? No, I went under the awning. It's still raining. Why is it still raining? I did what I was supposed to. Why is it still raining?
Cool. No, I like the first drop more. I like the sounds. It's like bass. It's not really like related harmonically, you know. It's not sound designed off. It's kind of a note layered, which doesn't have the same effect. A bit more consistent on the sub, a bit more consistent on the volumes between basses. And like I would mess with the kind of pitch or like the harmonic of this, that kind of call. Just something about it feels a little dissonant or off with what comes next. Kick loud, sub louder, less. Kind of cool. It's like that kind of tone is almost hinted in the intro. But I would play off that more. I'd emphasize that connection more.
Why is it still raining?
I don't know. The layers aren't bad, but I would be careful with them. Like I'll maybe do a little more atonal layers because it's like they're trying to do something kind of melodically, harmonically, but like with kind of harmonic bass design that doesn't usually work out.
Why is it?
Maybe like processing, chopping, like manipulating that pitch on the sample more, like stuff like that.
That's not fair.
Maybe teasing some kind of basis, some weirder sound design in here to kind of connect these vibes a little more. Always at the off beat, boot, cat, boot, cat. Always. Cool pick. Hi. Because it's not free. Cool. I feel like an issue this has, it's like it's trying to build up hype to these drops, but it already has. So if I'm giving you a meal, right? If I'm giving you your gourmet feast, like whatever that may be, your luxurious feast, imagine a luxurious feast. I give you like 5 feasts before that, like you won't give a fuck about the luxurious feast, okay? But if I starve you for 10 days straight, and leave you in the wilderness, then I give you that feast, it's a lot more bad. No, it's just like you already have the full platter, you know, you have all the layers going on before the drop, so it just lacks that kind of impact. It lacks some of that satisfaction. Yes, you need the apps. You gotta appetize them. No, but like you have the sub bass, you have a full arrangement right before the drop. So when the drop hits, it's just missing some of that impact, you know? And it's not always something you can add, which is it's usually it's almost counterintuitive. It really is. Because I know it's a problem I've had. I'm like, okay, I gotta add more to make this hit. But really, take away. Take away. Exactly. Gonna be full by the time dessert hits. Wise words. I feel like for a jungly type beat, I want a little more like organic-y style percussion, maybe. Or at least some layers, like some nice clappies, foldies. Yeah, and I still feel like just generally the sub's a little present. Even just taking away the sub and playing with the drums, I think that gives a lot of impact to moments. And also the fact that the patterns are pretty similar between these kind of build up and drop moments. You know, like give us a lot clearer A and B idea. Just like very musical if we broke down all the production, you know, where's this musical idea? Where does it sit? I'm saying broke down, like if even if it was without all this production, like what's the rhythm that gives it that character? Or, you know, maybe you can have this sub bass do a chord progression here, or have this part be more chord progression-y, more sparse. Maybe you can save back some of these like like these kind of band passy like squelch sounds. You know, like save it for the drop. So when they do hit in the drop, that's like a ooh moment, you know? Because you giving me so many squelchies, I'm like, all right, I'm squelched out, bro. Don't want to squelch them out. You want to squelch them in. Run it. I said run it. I said run it. They disobey my word. What pages aren't okay? Nice as fuck. I like this. It definitely marks progress in your ambient explorations. It's more textured, it's more layered, it's more evolving, which is all things I crave. Give me that low end. 3 layers now. He's evolved. I really like. The fuck did I do? Okay, nothing important. It's unplugged. Nothing important. Don't. Okay, it's plugged out and don't fucking worry. Don't fucking worry about it. Whatever it is. All right. Keep going. Keep going with it. Okay, are you done? Okay, never mind. No, but like it's layers are good, especially with ambience, because like I like thick ass single pads, but when you add layers, it's like, oh, it's not meshing. But oftentimes when it does mesh, finally, you're better off. You know, it's like the learning curve. Like at first it sounds worse, but then once it sounds better, it's really nice. Something I've been doing, like instead of layers sometimes though, is like processing the same thing with like kind of multiple chains, like one that's kind of like atonal, one that's like just a straight pad, one that's like really like shimmer, granular, you know what I mean? I find that can kind of get you the depth of layers while kind of guaranteeing their cohesion in a way, okay? But give me that low end. Feel like some clearly defined like kind of chord changes for this kind of style could be nice. I feel like I kind of want some like almost like RC20-ish like type of like atmosphere, type of like texture, type of vibe feel going on. You know, like not literally RC20, but like almost like I want this kind of like haze effect or something. And I think you can mess with like more dramatic kind of dynamic things, like straight up like low passing in, filtering out, you know. It's interesting, like even like kind of a peak sweeping through can create a lot of movement. Get it fully lush, kind of push this dynamic where you can kind of play with layers, chains on it. Cool thing about ambient is like you could just resample this whole thing into a new pad. I feel like it's pretty, like I've said this before, but as opposite as it can be in terms of like the vibes, like ambient and the dubstep kind of share like the sound design depth and creativity you can get into. Ouch. That was nice. Quite clean on the mix. What I hear though It's the current year. It's 2023. No more semantics impact at the beginning of songs. Okay. Even as a treat. I realize it does have this like folksy vibe, I guess. Here. But like, I wish it would like play off this more and like be more musical with it. It just sounds like, just like thing. Because beyond like the sample, it's just like dubstepping. It's doing the dubstep build thing, you know? Like we could have a little more intro, a little more extending it, like bass following it, like playing with it. A little more riser. So I need a boom, down, 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 down. And then when it drops, boom, down, down, brow, brow. Now, brow. Brow, not brow. Different key. Yeah, and like even this kind of layers in a weird key. Like check the key. Riff things off the pentatonic scale. I wouldn't mind some kind of like fills in these silences. Yeah, like I just don't feel like there's a lot of consonants like going on in the riff. And the rhythm is a little slowish pace. No, this one is like fucking perfect though. Like, just do this, do this. Like in terms of like playing off the root, like phrasing it, keeping it interesting, like nicer sound design, a bit faster pace, rhythmically engaging. You know, but that's a lot of words, so run it. Vagabond Daydream, your track doesn't work. Bro, thank you, Drake. Click the share button. Click the share button. Cool pick. Those are cool sounds. So, a few things. I like the jungle sounds. I like the vibe established. It's like, I feel like a bit more on the elements, like on the groove, you know, we just have bam, bam, ding, ding. I don't know. So like, a bit like groovier, faster paced drum. Boom, boom, you know, like whatever. Like lifting the flow a little much. I feel like we want like a bit of straight hat action to really make it groovable. You know, not as lifted in spots. You know, just interrupting really. And touching key. Like the kind of thing with the sax, like bam, 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 bam. You know, I would say boom. Boom, you know, like boom, you know, like make it a more complete phrase, make it a little more pulling. It feels kind of like restrained, like tense. Tunes are sent in the Discord, but I'm not accepting anymore tonight. In terms of like a layer, like I think like a rhythmic kind of layer, just something straighter, you know, like it's like trying to lay down this groove with the drums, but it's not really being served by anything else. Like the sax is doing it, but it's playing a little too far around. The pad is padding, you know, like we want the chord kind of hitting rhythmic stuff. You hear me? Think rhythmically. Layers to serve the whole. This is cool.
So they go on to say the consciousness in all of us. Your basic mind is like space. It is completely pure. Is in the best position.
Okay. I'm skimming heavy. But am I wrong for it? I'll let you decide. I like this kick pattern, but that's about all I'm getting. I don't really see these layers offering me anything besides just like decor, you know? I'm talking about like the wind chime effect. Like it's like a sound, it's a sound, but like, well, what's it serving? Like a bit of the atmosphere, but like atmosphere is clear, you know? Like I want something to serve a rhythmic, melodic purpose, or to be such a sound that's so striking you hear it and it's effective, it's impactful. You know, and really like we don't need this. We don't need this song. We don't. You know, maybe change like the sub bass dynamic in a place. Or you could do 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 do. You know, like play with that to make it a more complete phrase. I just like really don't like the do 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 do. Something about that I don't like. Maybe because I like made a track with that I just abandoned because I really fucking hated it. You know, I'm imagining like over or underneath like the thing, give it some dynamics, like over top of the sub. Boom boom boom, you know, like almost like if you're trying to create a meditative thing, like I would take that kind of like trance influence, you know, like jaw harp, you know, like the formants opening up, that type of effect, or like more kind of droney layered rhythm stuff that creates that effect. You know, take influence from that style. I would say to make it run deeper and give it that depth. You know, like if it's like a trancey type deal, like make it undeniably hypnotic. See, Dash Glitch know all about that. And it's like, I can imagine that being a thing, like the deep dub with the more trancey, like, elements. But like, almost like a texture that's not so psytrance, but like, almost like kind of playing into like that organic, like, tape reel feel that dub likes to hit. I mean, that's really like what the kind of dub delay does a lot of the time, but leaning into that. Yeah, side dub. Dark side dub. Deep dark side dub.
Like when I'm tripping, I always think I want to go home, then I realize I don't have a home.
That was cool. I keep accidentally not muting my mic. Sorry if that fucks with the quality. This is cool, like a little messy. Like I'll maybe like, I mean, even in like the visual, I guess like clearer like A and B, you know, in and out of these main kind of chorus drop sections. Cause it kind of like, it feels like it just kind of like rolls into what's going on. And when this drop does kind of hit, it doesn't feel that much contrasted because we already had all this sub, all this drum action, all these layers going already, you know? So like less of that, like more sparse section before this drop hits, different textures, all that. In terms of the visuals, I was saying it would be cool to like have a distinctly different visual for like the different sections. You know, even if it's just like the color switches, like when the drop hits, you know, like that. I feel like that can create an impact that can emphasize the arrangement, the music. Beat doesn't really stay consistent at any point. Same with the kind of like chord progression. Like I would say just have a more consistent chord progression, more consistent beat. Like I feel like the raw materials are there. They're just not arranged in a row.
Like when I'm tripping,
Feel me? And just, you know, bring order to it. Clear, more defined melody in places, I think can only be a good thing. You know, at least if we want to really abstract things, I think it's good to understand what a form is before you decide what you make is formless. Hello, this is
Liar.
That was good. I feel like the sound design and like the loudness and like the sub was exceptionally clean for no reason. Why isn't everyone that clean? I just like the sound design in general. So. Synth a little synthy and loud. Get a catchier progression, catchier melody going on. Do. And it's like sounds like major. You just want to boo. Or whatever the fuck the root note is. You want to build it off the same fucking root note. That's it. I like the drums. And like, yeah, extend it, why not? It sounds good. Build it off the same root note. Maybe you want a darker type of sound, you know, to fit the kind of dubsteppiness coming up. You know, chords in the arrangement, atmospheres in the arrangement. Make it less dry. Expand. Cool art. Oh. Is this good music? Oh, he's hitting the progs. He's R&B on him. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. No, I like this, you know, at the root, it just has a nice chord progression, which never fucking fails. So if you want your songs to sound good, just look up a nice chord progression and use it. This goes for everyone ever. Yeah, and I like the sound design, just good sounds, and I love the modulation, filtering them, cool textures. And use the filter to create a dynamic effect, you know, it's musical. Sub definitely too loud. I feel like I want like a bit more adding, like kind of lead melody coming in at these halfway points or something. But this is very fun. I mean, that's the thing, like lead melody. In here, it's just like moments I'm like, oh, we need like a vocalist or something. Not a vocalist, but you know, a main character kind of like talking, speaking their shit over it. Big build up. Feel like a little heavy on the kind of low passing at points. And I feel like like the 4 on the floor, it's just so heavy. I feel like it like justifies like a brighter pat going on, like to fit that aggression. Nice little vocal here. I feel like that's the type of thing that needs to be a bit more front though. So I would say like a bit of rebalancing the mix, a bit of like melody centric kind of variation, thought in places. Something kind of like break up a bit of the wall of sound, which I will not elaborate on. I will not examine on. Okay. Cool.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding? What's blood for?
That's cool. I like the vocal sample. Don't know what it's from. Now I'm so invested in this plot line. This guy sounds very cool. Why did he shed innocent blood? Okay. See, theme of the night. I don't know why I keep saying this, but it's like the layers from like drop to other shits. Like it's already pretty full before the drop, pretty straight. You know, it's not even like the fullness of the layers, like, because you can have a huge buildup then a drop. It's just the difference, you know, like a buildup, it's clearly buildup. Everything's tense, everything's different. There's no consistent beat. When it's just consistent beat, full layers, full everything, and then drop, it's not contrasted. I feel like it's a little too slammed, like gotta be like EQ'd or like OTT'd or like something to like brighten it back up. Like it has the slam sound, but it sacrifices like the fullness, which kind of defeats the point of it being slammed, you know? I like these parts. I don't like just sustain because there's not much to discern there. When the sound isn't really modulated, there's no real rhythm or like phrase. But even this needs to be more varied, you know, like a call or a type of fill, beginning of phrase and end of, like beginning of the bar, end of the bar. Never hurts anyone.
Dead innocent blood. What's
So you're hitting the flute melody. Wow. Okay, that means you have to hit that root in your job. You kind of are at the beginning, but then it bends lower. I'll maybe start at the high note, but then bend down towards that root, you know? So it gives a sense of resolution there rather than it's approaching somewhere else, you know? Side chain, cleaner low end on the kick sample. Just pick a different. Kind of dirty, but I don't know. Long tail. A little more something here. It's fine for mix outs, but you know. You don't want to kind of like Fletcher the sub, like EQ it so these lower notes have a chance at coming through compared to the higher notes, which are just so loud, but the low, you know. Just some thoughts. It's a cool track as a dark feel. Man.
Sitting first class, feeling like shit though. Staring out the window with the mind of a schizo. Thinking if I jump, will I feel it when I hit the ground? Fuck that, I want the. Off anybody's head. I wouldn't care if everybody's dead. That's why I keep the plum shotty laying in the bed.
Match the BPM to your track. look up how to warp samples to the proper BPM and do that. And I would also say, like, you see how, like, the sample kind of turned to, like, a different section, you know, it went vocal and then it's, like, to the keys or whatever. But the arrangement didn't really reflect that. Like, the drums are still going, there's not really, like, an effect, there's not really a change at that point. You want it all to be unified. Snare isn't my favorite for this. I would have a bit more top percussion going. That's what I say when I hear drum and bass. Get a bit more harmonic. Just keep pushing, playing with distortion, playing with harmonics on this bass to salsa it further. Just dry, just a few more layers. You know, atmospheric layers could never do you wrong. Like a slight melodic kind of chord hit, you know, playing kind of like hitting rhythmically, like bam, 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 whatever, you know. Or you can even just chop what you have in the sample up more to kind of serve that role. It just needs another layer. It's very dry. Okay, study structure, reference your favorite tracks, and identify their structure. You know, intro, build, drop, and so on and so forth. Because, like, there's clearly a section here that just has zero kind of transition to it. Master is kind of like squashed, like, it's kind of too loud, like, mastering presetted, which you don't usually want that heavy. You know, in terms of arrangement, you know, we want clearer rhythmic definition on the sounds. You know, you can have or you can have you know, like. You could just kind of have like long sustained note, or you can have, you know? Which one would you rather have? The sound design is cool and the modulation on it's cool and the beats are cool, but we can push it. We can have structure. We can have a bit more rhythm, a bit more noting coming from the sounds, transitions between these sections. You know, and even just the kind of classic call and response type effect could probably make this nicer. I'll start citing kind of videos for that. I do have call and response video, so I would recommend watching that for how to phrase, and I do have a structure video. I would also recommend watching that. He has an excellent structure video as well in terms of referencing tracks you like. So that is your homework. And I would look to just look to tracks you like, see how they use their sound. Usually they're not having completely flat use of sounds. Usually they have multiple sounds going. So try incorporating that. Or if they have one sound, usually they're playing a lot of notes with it, or they're using it very rhythmically. So maybe try to imitate that, you know, and don't say, oh, I can't, because you can. In the end, like, you could just kind of line it up on the grid. And how do I line it up on the grid? I also find that, you know. But referencing really is invaluable, especially when you're trying to. Yeah. Didn't sound quite as good with headphones out on speakers. I mean, usually that's the case. If that's the case, I would say stereo width. Stereo width a lot of the time. Also, it's lacking this kind of sub bass following the, just lacking the sub bass. The kick has bass on it, which is kind of punching a little crazy at this part, but you know, play with it. Check it all out. Get money. Nice.
Guarded him with the strap. Represent. Get on your knees and pray.
Okay, so bigger things, like I feel like you could have like teased these basses more, had more build-up effect going on here. Riser, drums, all that, or not, or just at least the riff for this type of breakbeat style. This drop was like half as long as it needed to be. I feel like you can extend it, or the kind of like flip the drop into the outro rather than like taking out so much for that.
Get on your knees.
Feel like maybe too like multi-bandy, compressy.
Represent.
feel like I want like, I don't know why I've just been thinking this on every track. I mean, that's just kind of how it works usually. But want some kind of pauses in the arrangement, so boom, 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 boom. You know, like it kind of feels like sustainy, like almost legato in the phrase. But I feel like this is something that kind of wants like a bit of like bounce, a bit of chop, a bit of boom, 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 boom. You know. I think like also something Chris Digby said earlier is like envelopes on things. You know, everything that's huge, especially here. Everything's has this sustained timbre. You know, versus give us some stuff that's wubby, that's very long attack, some stuff that's plucky, and I think we'll create that effect, we'll create that discernment I'm looking for. But that's it. I appreciate y'all showing up despite the fucked schedule. It will not be fucked. Okay? For now, I'll see you. I appreciate the birthday wishes. I appreciate that. Stream Scrambly Quest. Stream Flux. Stream Flux instead. You'll probably like that more, I'll be honest. I don't know. Flip not on the weekend is a little sacrilege. If I have the time, we'll run it. I'll let you know. But that's it. Always improving. Always nice tunes. It means a lot for y'all to show up and to keep fucking cooking, because that's what I want to see. The Percy glow up nice. He really advanced his production. That's who stands out. He's the cooker upper of the night. Warding trying more rhythm stuff. Loki, I feel like Warding has already been is already kind of rhythm influenced, but he says like, oh, it ain't me. Who else? Lucid always goes crazy. Oh wait, Vagabond Daydream, I missed your track. I'll run it real quick. Cool pick.
Won't stop
That was nice. I would say first drop lacking a bit of sub. Second drop, I feel like I want like more harmonic, like distorted, like whatever tones from it. I think some things are just like all white noise. And like that thing, it like gets a little too crisp to make out that harmonic, like cleanness, that goodness. A bit of riser here, no doubt. Synth risers, classic and effective. It's a whole sound design avenue to mess with. Kind of minimal feel. I like it. Bass and sub up for this. You know how I feel about reverse cymbals. And blatant white noise risers. Yeah, watch where the kind of layers hit. Yeah, and I'll say a bit more variation at these kind of halfway points. Goes from too little sub to a bit too much sub. So yeah, just play with the mix, balance that. Also, I don't know why, I'm just looking at your logo and I'm thinking to myself, like, it'd be cool if, like, these had, like, very even, like, I guess whatever kerning is the word, like, spacing between them. The V and D are really tight and, like, symmetrical kind of against each other. They're, like, you know, like, real tight. Whatever the fuck. I'm just thinking for some reason. But that's it. I'll see y'all. Shout out Vagabond Daydream for sending the vibes that I wouldn't forget his track. But that's it. If you miss the mish, we do this every Friday, 10:30 p.m. Unless stated otherwise. Be in the Discord, that's where the news is held. Much love.